Oh, we are back then for the Formula One Sim Racing World Championship 2025. It is round 6. We are going to go racing at Spa-Francorchamps, the longest track on the calendar. I cannot wait to get going. On pole position is Thomas Ronha. Currently, the drivers' standings champ, or the leader at the moment, is Ismail Fassi. And the team constructors are being led by Mercedes. So what a better way to start with a brand new feature than catching up, I should say, with Mercedes. Here we go.
Who is more likely to neglect to practice before a big race?
I definitely think you guys panic more closer to the time than me.
Yeah, but you still don't neglect it.
No.
But in terms of pure hours, probably Jake does the most work-life balance.
To try an impossible overtake.
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah,
that's easy.
Yeah.
Well, I just like the excitement of it. Like,
Bin it or win it, basically.
I like these moves.
Have the best reaction time at the start.
I'm hoping it's me.
Probably Jake, I think.
Vamos, I'm having that.
Really?
Yeah, he's good at the start. Probably
Okay.
it's him.
Maybe I didn't see that, but okay.
To dominate in the rain.
I hope it's me.
I think done it.
Yes.
I'm just getting old, getting slower, and rain slows everything down, so I'm really happy if it rains.
To get distracted by real-life F1 news during practice.
Done it.
Yes.
Is it me?
Yes.
If there are great news, I even stop practicing and focus on that a little bit. Yeah.
To drive with a damaged front wing and still finish strong.
It's Jake.
Great.
He has the experience of damaged front wings.
Yeah, fair.
To set the fastest lap in a race.
Oh,
Me.
sure. Yes.
But do you know why? Because you are not that good in the quali. You always need to come from back with reverse strategy, and then you push all your overtake, open DRS, and then, oh, fastest lap. No one gives a
Okay.
Well, to start, let's speak to one of the drivers that was involved in that. That looked fun, Jake Benham alongside me. You've been out racing, of course, this weekend for this event. You're going to be out as well for Zandvoort. But this time, we've got your teammate, unfortunately, behind you. That means that you're not racing.
Unfortunately, no.
Well, unfortunately for you, Jake.
Yeah, but no, at the end of the day, it's a team game. We're going to put out our strongest lineup for each race. And in this case, it was Danny and Istvan. Obviously only practicing for 2 tracks in this event, just to maximise the constructors as much as we can, and yeah, overall it's going quite well so far, so we just got to keep it up.
It's one of the great strengths of Mercedes that you've got all 3 drivers that are rotating throughout. Sometimes we see that with teams up and down the grid, other times we don't. With you guys, we do. Going back out for Zandvoort, how are you feeling?
Yeah, pretty good for Zandvoort. Usually one of my stronger tracks, so hopefully you can get a good result there. Mainly the race pace seems quite good there, but ultimately it's going to be difficult to overtake being such a high downforce track and not too many straights. But yeah, we'll see what we can do later, but ultimately full focus on Belgium.
Really interesting at the moment in terms of the championship standings. Mercedes still top at the moment after your double podium yesterday. Esteban Pukki, like you say, is just behind us. How do you get on with your teammate? Firstly, seeing Esteban in today, how is his driving style quite similar to yours?
I wouldn't say we're very similar. I think we come from very different sort of backgrounds in like teams and stuff. But ultimately, I know how quick he is, I know how quick Danny is as well, and ultimately there's easy enough pace there to win the race and get good podiums, finishes for all 3 of us.
Okay, and then so this time you're going to be watching from the sidelines. What do you think it's going to be like for your team? Spa's a bit of a crazy one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's always a crazy one, especially the weather. Everyone knows it's very off and on with weather in Spa. I might predict some rain, I don't know. But ultimately, pace is there in both conditions. So, yeah, it's just about maximising what we can and not focus on anyone else and just maximise what we can do.
Are we looking forward to some rain?
I think we look quite good in the wet, in quali at least. It's just all in the moment, right? It's just different conditions. People adapt quicker than others. It's just all about adapting to the different weather conditions when it comes, whether it's light rain, heavy rain straight away. So yeah, I think we're pretty good in both scenarios. It's just about obviously adapting well and maximising where we can.
Okay, well, watching from the sidelines for this one, but you'll be involved in, of course, for Zandvoort. So thank you so much and enjoy the race.
Cheers, thank you.
Jake Benham there predicting, not a riot, some rain. The Kaiser Chiefs classic track there. 2 podiums for him. Jeddah Silverstone seemed very calm about the fact he's stepping aside. It's a team game and Pookie comes straight in and he'll be starting in P6. Alex Jakes, F1 commentator, Matt Gallagher, just all-round top bloke from P1. With Matt Tommy. What was wrong with that? That was a great start. I mean, I was looking at the wrong camera.
Let's review the link. Got off to a great start.
Yeah,
right?
I looked at the wrong camera, but then we got there in the end.
Went really well. Said that I was no commentator. That was correct. So then Matt's here as well.
Great bloke.
All-round top bloke.
Fun. I exist. Thanks.
It's true.
Yeah, Isman Pookie, can we focus on him for just a moment? Because formerly last year with the Ferrari outfit, moves to Mercedes, there's something to be said with there. I mean, Ferrari's results so far, is there something going on behind the scenes? He's able to implement his skills, his talent, his ability, because it looks very good for Mercedes, currently at the top of the constructors' standings.
Yeah, it does indeed. And he's been a terrific part of it. Got the season off to a great start. And when you're a rookie and you're coming in, it's not easy to do that. But considering he's had 3 races and he is still going into this one 6th in the point standing. So he's been great out of the box, and another Q3 for him today.
Yeah, what do you think of that kind of the synergy of the 2 drivers, Matt? You got Danny Berezny, form of his life that we haven't seen for such a long time, 4th in the Drivers' Championship. His best finish was at Silverstone yesterday, finishing 2nd, but he's had 2 other podiums before that in Australia and China. It's bringing the best out of each other. That seems to be what's happening right now for Mercedes.
Yeah, absolutely. The fact that they are constantly there, no matter what qualifying session or race that we've looked at so far in this event, they've been there with all 3 drivers, and it's a really strong outfit that perhaps some people coming into this season, we were looking at Red Bull, we were looking at McLaren, looking at Ferrari. Mercedes have come out the blocks, not just with their drivers being incredibly talented, but also getting it right with the strategy as well. They've been the complete package so far, and they're looking great as well going into the race today. Yeah,
it's interesting when I remember last year as well, when we started that famous first time we headed out to the Maldives for Sweden for the first return, Matt, and Mercedes had Jarno Opmeer and Danny Berezny, and that successful partnership didn't quite lead to a title. Different this time around with a rookie and Jake Benham, who's just been there to pick up points when necessary.
Yeah, I mean, on paper, when you see the loss of Jarno Opmeer for Mercedes, you go, oh, well, they might struggle this year. And that's probably why we weren't speaking about them as much. But yeah, they've made it work. The new guard and all that we've been speaking about have delivered, both with Pookie and with Benham. But it's not over yet. Yeah, they're winning the Constructors' Championship right now, but we've got plenty of races to go, and it is so close, both in the drivers. There's a bit of a healthy lead for Mercedes, but that can be eradicated very, very quickly. Like we saw last year with Ferrari, they went on a great run, got a couple of 1-2s, and all of a sudden they won the standings.
Absolutely changed the landscape as they did. Right, Jarno Opmeer, you just saw there, he'll be starting in P11. Should you have a recap of quali?
Yeah,
let's do it. You were there, part of it. It had a bit of everything, and it came down to more rain, which we love. Let's have a recap.
The lap time's coming in. Bari Broumand's had a really tough lap. He's going to drop down. He's going to drop out. Blakely fighting. Can he manage to get through? No, only 14th. Ronhard takes it away. Brendan leads a 4th. Fastly, our championship leader, already down to 7th place. Nicolas Longuet is in 6th. We've got Alfie Butcher on the front row at the moment.
Yeah, obviously really good. We've had some tough qualifyings in the last couple races, so it's really nice to be back on the front row where we can fight for the win. Hopefully I'll cross the line first at the end.
Alfie Butcher booking his place on the front row. Strong result for Thomas Ronhard when he needed it.
Can't believe I'm saying that the 2 Red Bulls will start 10th and 11th. As Ronhard gives us all the sliding and all the steering action. Thank you very much, Thomas.
I like Spa, it's a really good track for racing. Obviously we've got many long straights, DRS opportunities, so yeah, it'll be a good watch. The conditions have been quite unexpected, so who knows what can happen, but we'll be prepared for any condition, rain or sun or wet.
there you go. Recap done. It was highly entertaining for Thomas Ronha in the slicks there. It really did put on a show for everybody and put it on pole. I wonder what he would have been doing from the point of quali to going racing right now to get himself set up and dialed in for this race, Alex.
Yeah, it's a big one for him, and he's hopes to take the title, re-establish himself after a tricky moment in Event 1, where he wasn't a very popular chap after Jeddah, but he regrouped, solid result yesterday. Key thing now for him is, can he convert it to the win? He's done the job in what was at times a bit of a lottery qualifying. If he converts it into the win today, that's massive for his championship campaign.
All right, let's hear some positive comms from the likes of Nicolas Longuet and Danny Berezny. This is something for us to listen into after their quali results. Nicolas Longuet finishing P8. Let's hear what he had to say crossing that line.
We have so much pace, I think.
Yeah, but it's going to be Inters again.
I felt good in the Inter as well. That said, I felt decent to drive, not too hard.
It feels a bit bitter, but still an amazing quali position. But that 1/10 could have easily been found.
Yeah. I like Danny Berezny, a calm influence.
Yeah.
You never see him even when they're crashing out in Jeddah, he seemed to just mellow out immediately, and that's definitely good. That cool calmness that he's going to need is going to help him.
He had that outburst, didn't he, of, oh, yeah, and then, good luck, Jake.
Yeah.
Yeah, reset.
And okay, we're done.
Yeah, there's not much more you could do about that. But Longuet feeling they've got that pace, they're definitely going to need it today.
Yeah, they're going to have to extract it as well, though. You know, you don't want to be coming out of qualifying sessions thinking, oh, I had a little bit of time here, I had a little bit of time there. We know that in an optimal scenario, both the Ferrari drivers can put it on pole position, but they haven't been able to deliver that yet. Longuet's usually stronger in qualifying. We've not really seen that so much. Can he translate into some race performance? That's what he's going to need. Maybe he was listening just then as well. He's having a little look over, isn't he? He's like, are they talking about me? The camera's on me right now.
Yeah, we are. We're talking about
I want to see a great result for Ferrari, and they need it. Of course, Barry has had a victory. Longuet needs one as well.
Yeah, Barry, your winner here last year in Spa, he starts down in P15. What I would love to see is a head-to-head between him, Bari Broumand, and Lucas Blakely, which we can see right now.
How would I beat Bari? I think Bari is such a challenging circuit because it's so long. You know, if you mess up one corner, you know, you've often sacrificing, you know, multiple corners after that. You know, the Lecombe chicane, you know, if you mess up the entry, you're going to suffer for the next couple of corners after that.
On 22, they're going to try, you know, as they do peel through. Blakely takes the lead, takes it away from Tom Manley.
It's really crucial in Spa to manage your ERS, your tire wear. It's really crucial that you get the strategy right, because if you get undercut by so many drivers, overtaking in the train is quite hard.
So it's Blakely who leads the way. Broumand trying to tee something up. You can just see the camera panned on Lucas Blakely right now.
And obviously Spa is one of the races in F1 Esports that when you go to last lap, you always, I don't know, I always want to be P2 because the DRS is so powerful.
As they head down to the bus stop chicane, it's Barry around the outside.
Yeah, he's coming around the outside and blocks him up. Barry Broumand for the lead of the race.
When you get a really good lap at Spa, it's the most satisfying thing possible. A proper challenge, but one that rewards you if you get it right.
Lucas Blakely has also managed to take the lead away from Bari Broumand, so it's getting spicy now at the front as the two former McLaren teammates are fighting it out for victory.
Obviously, most thing is a good thing about Lucas, but I think I'm just gonna try to focus on myself to do my job good enough, and I think if I can manage to do that, for sure I can win the race against anyone.
And they're not far apart from each other on the starting grid, because Barry will be in P16, correction there, and P14 for Lucas Blakely. They are, well, look at the focus there from Lucas. I think he needs rebooting there. Maybe he's buffering just before. Right then, tyre strategy. Gentlemen, going into Spa, what do we predict here? What do you think most drivers will pick here, Matt?
Well, one of the big things about this track in particular is the strength of the undercut. You know, if you make the decision on the right lap, then you can thrust yourself up the train that we will most likely see. Obviously, we've got three predicted pit stop strategies to choose from. I know Marcel Kiefer didn't want to be attached to this last time out.
When does
he? In Silverstone, he was very correct as well. So, be interesting. I think the medium tyre is definitely going to be the one that a lot of the drivers are going to want to start on. However, we haven't included the wet tyres, which we've seen throughout the entirety of qualifying qualifying earlier.
Don't jinx it.
That might well not be the tyres we use.
Alex Jakes and Matt Gallagher are really looking forward to this one. I'm going to leave the desk, leave you to it. It's round 6, it's Spa. Can't wait.
Thank you very much, Tom Deacon. Terrific throw.
One of the best.
One of the great throws, in fact. It is the longest circuit on the calendar. It is a challenge for all currently sitting in the studio. A pivotal moment, our first race on day 2 of event 2. 7 kilometers, 4.3 miles, 19 turns, all with names, all with motor racing memories. But who's going to create some more here and take the win? It is a behemoth for the drivers to attack. We're going to go from the back to the front to tell you the lineup in the field, with Josh Edu next to the returning Duncan Hoffland. He's in the second Aston Martin today. Crozen is next to his teammate. Thomas Gau is 17th. Joris Crozen is in 18th place for Haas. Next up, Bari Broumand. We always have a shock in Q1. He was the shock this time. Otis Lawrence is in 15th. Both of these drivers have won races this year. They've got it all to do today. Next up, Lucas Blakely in 14th. Alvaro Carreton in P13 for Williams. We move forward to Joni Tormala, who is in 12th. Jarno Opmeer is the second Red Bull in the field, but his teammate is not too far away. Freddie Rasmussen, winner yesterday, goes from 10th on the grid. Ismail Fassi is the points leader, and he goes from 9th place. Next up is Nicolas Longuet. Brendan Lee's final season in the championship includes a 7th place start at Spa. Pookie returns to Mercedes, returns in P6. Danny Beresne in 5th position as he tries to close the gap at the top of the championship standings. The Racing Bulls occupy row 2. It's Ulas Zelderem next to Tom Manley, who is in 4th. Alfie Butcher's best qualifying of the year sees him start in P2, and it's a first pole position of the season for Thomas Ronhaar.
Been looking around, and I didn't hear the collective groan that we heard in qualifying.
No.
It is a dry start to this race. I'm awaiting my weather report. It looks pretty overcast from the things I can see at the moment as the drivers get their strategies ready ahead of a grueling race around Spa. It promises to be a lot of action, 7 kilometers, and a lot of opportunities to overtake. A huge opportunity for Thomas Ronhaar as we await the 5 red lights.
Yeah, we're waiting to see the lights come on. 3, 4, 5 red lights illuminate. We go racing in Spa. We're charging down to turn number 1. Great reaction time for Thomas Ronhaar. He's got what he needed. Alfie Butcher can't put the pressure on, but I'm not sure he really wanted to. It's the run to Eau Rouge that's so important. And then the first braking zone, real braking zone and overtaking opportunity into Lake Cotton. Great start for Ronhaar. Can Butcher now put the pressure on? Hard tyres for everyone in the field apart from Alvaro Carreton as the Sauber leads of Ronhaar ahead of Butcher, and then it's Zilderim and Manley. No change for position in the top 10 as we hit the 5th turn.
Otis Lawrence, very good start for him, up to 13th, 2 positions gained. Carreton down 2 despite starting on those medium compound tyres. It's not an ideal start for him. Bari Broumand down 1 as well, but no changes in the top 12 as Lucas Blakely now makes his way up to 13th himself, and Otis Lawrence are fighting very hard indeed, as you can see there as the cars filter through at the middle sector of this lap.
It's getting wider in the background. Otis Lawrence is the driver that we're focusing on. Currently finds himself in 14th position. Blakely hung on. So Lawrence gains a place. Alvaro Carreton dropping a couple. Bari Broumand down to 17th. It's getting tight still there as we make our way through. Carreton trying to reclaim that position. Can he get ahead? He can. And that's our action, all of our action. That coming outside the points-paying positions. Unbelievably well behaved in the top 10.
Absolutely. We spoke about Ronhaar. Would he want to lead or take pole position for the first lap of the race? And he's managed to hold on to it beautifully as we ride on board with Otis Lawrence. Of course, disappointed once again after qualifying. Let Carreton through there, it has to be said. I mean, Carreton's on the medium tyres. It makes sense not to fight at this stage with the Williams driver. But Otis Lawrence, very much a championship contender coming into event 2. Not had the best of starts, and he'll be wanting to move forward in this one. We know he has the pace, but he's got a lot of work to do in this one.
He has indeed. Great start in event 1 with that victory in Jeddah, secured over the line by 3 thousandths of a second in one of the greatest finishes in F1 sim racing history. Out front, Ron Hart leading the way by 0.2 of a second, searching for his first win of the season. Alfie Butcher in second, as Alexander in third position, maintaining the place from Tom Manny. And it was crucial for the Racing Bulls and the Mercedes pair, Matt, that they kept the advantage of having both cars line astern. That's going to be so important when we get to the strategic phase of the race.
Yeah, absolutely. They had to work together in that first lap to ensure they stayed together. There wasn't anything too crazy into turn one, as expected. We're looking at the front view here. Alfie Butcher, crucially, holding on to P2. This might well be one of those races where you do want to be second place into the last lap. We saw Freddie Rasmussen, of course, go against that in Silverstone and decided to protect the lead from first position on the final lap. But this one, you've got to be positioning your car so well in those last few laps of the race to have a chance of taking the victory. But yes, this one, not a huge amount of variation of strategy. 19 drivers on the hard tyres. But I'm having a look at the weather forecast. It says overcast, but there is a 17% chance of rain. So make of that what you will.
Lap 2 of 22. The calm before the storm playing out before your eyes. Thomas Ronhart with the fastest lap of the race so far. And he has an advantage of 0.4 of a second that will whittle away. Close side by side there. Joni Tormula, Jarno Opmeer, 11th and 12th at the moment. This is back to the battle out front that sees Thomas Ronhart leading Alfie Butcher. They are thinking about the end at the start.
They certainly are. Let's take a look at a replay of the beginning. It was a brilliant getaway for Ronhart, it has to be said. Beautifully defends into turn one.
Yeah, just going through what we saw at the start of the race. I mean, unbelievably well behaved. I mean, I don't ever think I've seen any start of a championship event for F1 sim racing that was so incredibly close. Tactical stuff at the front of the field. Alfie Butcher, a race winner last year, capping off a brilliant rookie season, finds himself at the front on lap 3. Thomas Ronhart dropping back, and he's going to do some of the heavy lifting for the next couple of laps.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those where not the biggest change at this stage of the race. Butcher deciding to head the field. He's very far ahead of his teammate Lucas Blakely, who's currently running in 14th. Alfie Butcher looking for that breakthrough drive at McLaren as we are in the final sector here of lap number 3. Will they continue to swap positions as the laps continue to count down before the pit stops? We'll have to wait and see, but Alfie Butcher will be feeling very confident, very happy that he is leading this one and puts himself in a very good position as he sets the fastest lap of the race.
It's interesting. We've heard drivers talk about the heartbeat increasing towards the end of the race, but Alfie Butcher will know this is by far his best showing of the year so far. He's managed to get himself into a good position here. But he will know there's a big opportunity to be taken with so many big hitters in the middle of the pack. Still, Freddie Rasmussen's in 10th. We're going to get a swap back for the lead. It's not exactly elbows out brawling, is it?
No, it's certainly not.
Tactical stuff right now.
Those two basically working together to ensure that they don't fall any further back than second place, Ronhart and Butcher. Of course, they have the two RBs in 3rd and 4th that will want to get into the mix at some point. But for now, it's all very calm. Ronhart now leading the way once again. And what we saw in Silverstone was all of the championship contenders not performing. We saw them not put many points on the board whatsoever around Silverstone. Are we going to see that again? Ronhart, of course, currently 5th in the standings. If he secures a victory, he's going to thrust himself right into the mix. He is currently on 44 points compared to Ismail Fassi's 63, but Fassi is currently running in P9. Then, of course, Jarno Opmeer, who is 2nd in the championship, running in 11th out of the points. It is all to play for in this championship at the moment, and these are crucial stages of this championship.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting about this situation as we formation fly around the Spa-Francorchamps circuit, everyone thinking about the crucial in-laps, when they're going to pull the trigger. They're all on the hard tyres, so we're going to get quite a long first stint here. How tempting that undercut, how tempting that swap to the softer rubber. It's going to, you know, you've got to play it safe, but if you're outside of the points, you're going to go as early as possible. You're going to try and cause an upset here, all the while knowing that one of the key elements of this year is that we're getting much bigger point swings per race, and it means that you can't really count anyone in for being a consistent title favourite. It also means you can't really count anyone out compared to other seasons where you go, oh, they're miles back, they're not a contender.
Yeah, you certainly could not. Nicolas Longuet, currently 9th in the championship. Let's hear from him.
Well, it's always, if the whole grid is on the same tyre, you just have to be the one to pull the plug.
And there you go. Beautiful. We're just speaking about the strategy. Yeah. Whether they go long, whether they go early, of course, it's tantalising to go first, right? And put yourself from potentially where Longuet is in 8th all the way to the front of the field. We saw that with Beresnay in Australia. But then you have to be able to defend in those last few laps when your tyres are the most aged of the entire field. So it is risk versus reward in that sense. And this is the decision that RB and Mercedes in particular are going to have to make, because they are line astern on the track. So it means that they cannot both come into the pits at the same time.
Absolutely a key point there. We did not get initial strategies off the line from both of them. I wonder if we're going to get into a situation though, Matt, given the middle sector is so traction dependent, are we going to get into a situation where the variation is not going to be what we saw in Australia at the start of the year, where drivers went super punchy, super early? Are we instead going to get a situation where drivers are maybe one lap earlier can make all the difference, and then it's just all about timing, reading the race correctly, working with your team and executing as you look at the predicted pit stop strategies? Well, we just imagine the medium's a hard.
Exactly. Thanks, Marcel. But anyway, I think what's interesting, right, is that...
Poor Marcel.
I know, bless him. He was correct yesterday. But in terms of...
This is why he won't let us into the VIP.
In terms of the strategy, it's interesting that, yeah, you could go for the undercut, but all of these drivers are in slipstream and DRS. They're pulling each other along. You always need another driver to come with you for that undercut to then use the slipstream and DRS to your advantage.
Legitimate overtake on track. Yeah, it happened. It was real. Bari Broumand gets past Lucas Blakely. Two great drivers. Unfortunately, from their point of view, consigned to outside of contention. Just 16th and 17th at the moment.
How mad is that? How much that has changed? Last year, we were just literally reflecting and talking about how they're going to beat each other, and they were fighting for the win. They're 16th and 17th.
Absolutely wild stuff, how much things have changed from 24 to 25. Different games can produce different pecking orders. Alfie Butcher's out front. He's taken the position away from Thomas Ronha. And you see he is out front right now. 7/10, 6/10. We'll whittle back down again. And lap 6 of 22. You saw the strategies on screen. We've still got a while to go. The race is going to distill into... It's all about the second half. It's all going to be about the second half of the race. But stick with us to see who comes out on top and see if we get another new winner in 2025. We've already had 5 different winners in the first 5 events. Butcher would be a new winner. So would Ronha. So would Ozilderim. So would Manley. So would Beresnay. So would Pookie. So would Brendan Lee, Nicolas Longuet. And then you get to the championship leader who started the party with victory in Melbourne earlier this year. What an amazing situation to be in, where all of the top 8 would be first-time winners this year. We're going to get another swap on track. Good tactics right now. I thought we were going to get a swap on track. No such luck.
Decided against it.
But closing up enormously. If you consider that gap to 7/10, it went down to 2. Butcher and Ronha in alliance at this stage. That's going to go out of the window in the second half of the race.
Certainly is. Ronha, as we mentioned in the quali show, playing it slightly more cautious. At least he was yesterday, and you can see
Butcher.
You know, we're talking about them not particularly pushing or getting elbows out. They're still out there trying to set fast lap times. Butcher on the ragged edge there, and yeah, Ronha, back to him mentioning he's cautious. I think that this is the right play for Ronha. Just defend your position as much as you can. Make sure you stay in the top 2, which is what he's doing. But yeah, it's so amazing that the top 8 are all non-winners from this season. It is a prospect that I cannot wait to see unfold. Fassi needs to move forward from 9th. If he wants to win this championship, he cannot start to have these lowly finishes now. Silverstone was disappointing for him. 9th will be disappointing as well. But it's by no means over. And who will be the first to blink? It's going to be very interesting to watch.
Well, and it depends as well. If it's at the very back, if it's Bari Broumand, will anyone react to that? If it's Freddie Rasmussen, absolutely people will have to react to that because we know what he can do around this circuit. The drivers went the same way with the strategy. If you weren't with us earlier on, wet qualifying, caught drivers out. You had a lot of really pressurized moments where you had to deliver one and done situations where the track was getting wetter and wetter. So if you didn't do the job immediately, you were heading out of the session. Extreme wet, intermediate tires, and on track we've got Alfie Butcher still ahead of Thomas Ronhaar, but Freddie Rasmussen is a driver who looked like he was shaping for a move on Fassi, but the Red Bull driver continues to circulate behind the Williams and wasn't able to make the move for P9.
So we have had our first pit stop. It was Alvaro Caraton, who was on the medium tyres. He's now switched over to the hards. Let's see if he can make any inroads on his own. No one punching the air in front of him. He's going to have to push on hard now to somehow fight for points, but he's going to be on the tyre that he doesn't want to be on. He doesn't want to be on the hards for the rest of the race. Everyone else will eventually change over to the mediums and be quite a bit quicker in those opening phases. Here is Alvaro Caraton. Thank you very much, Director. Pushing pretty hard on his own there as we now cut back to the front of the field. It's interesting, we can see Ronhaar. He falls away from Alfie Butcher.
Yeah, this stage
saves the energy and then just slipstreams his way all the way back to the back of the McLaren.
This stage of proceedings, you're thinking, oh, is he falling into the clutches of Will Zelderem? He's looking for that podium finish out front. Having started on pole earlier this year, slipped away from contention, but he's in a great position at the moment.
Oh, we've had Fassi blink. I think Fassi's come into the pits because he is
indeed,
falling down the field.
He's come surely into the pit lane for a crucial moment.
And Williams going very aggressive with both of their drivers.
Now, this is a key moment for our championship leader. Can you turn an outlier result into a situation where it remains that and doesn't turn into a narrative? It's crucial for him. We're going to get a change of lead. Alfie Butcher's stint at the front is over for the moment, working effectively in a peloton along with Thomas Ronhaar, who takes over the lead. But our focus is going to be on the medium tyres and the pace of Fassi, because everyone's going to have to respond.
Do you know what I said, Alex, earlier about not wanting to do the undercut on your own? Well, both the Williams are now together out on track, and they're going to be using their energy and their DRS incredibly wisely, as efficiently as possible, to make sure that this undercut works for them. How far will this thrust the pair of them up the order is yet to be seen. But Williams have gone for something very aggressive, but they had to. Fassi was 9th, Caraton was out of the points on a different strategy. This is a work in progress.
Yeah, a second a lap quicker, Alvaro Caraton with the undercut. Got the gap down and improving all the time. So gained a second, going for that super early move to the harder compounded tyre as well. So that is going to be an even greater effect in terms of the undercut from Ismail Fassi when he goes on to that tyre, brings it into the temperature window and can then attack. You can see 20.3 seconds. Early joy now, going to take late pain when it comes to the duration of the tyre. But Tom Manley's come into the pits, Brendan Lee's come into the pits, Joni Tormola's come into the pits. Getting that access and clear air to the fresh rubber is crucial. Bari Broumand's been given a time penalty for squeezing a driver, according to our screen at the moment. So denying a vehicle adequate racing room, squeezing, and a 1 second penalty applied, which if you look at the gaps can be very, very costly as well. Change back out front for lead. Why are we announcing it in the tone of a livery? Because it's not going to make the biggest difference later on. I can tell you the volume will increase in the second half of the race, because this well-behaved bunch at the front of the field are going to have to get aggressive in order to climb to the podium. So Fassi making that stop, it was intriguing to see whether everyone would react. They didn't. They don't believe Williams have gone the right way.
So Fassi has passed Tom Manley, who was in a net P4, and we've not seen the top 3 blink yet. you'd have to imagine Fassi is going to be right there in the mix to be leading this one once the pit stops come around. Of course, they're all in the train at the early stage of the race. You could be in 20th position, but only 4 or 5 seconds off the lead. So an undercut can do you a huge amount of reward at this current stage. Fassi pushing on very hard indeed. He's lost his rear gunner of Alvaro Caraton in between that. Manley and Lee are now behind Fassi. But this is the kind of strategy they had to pull at Williams. Otherwise, you're just going to be stuck in the train. So Fassi is going for track position.
Clear air.
And then he's going to get his elbows out.
Clear air is crucial for him. He's got the gap down from 22 seconds to the race leader. The gap now for Fassi, 16.7. And you've got to now take the moment, if you're out front, Thomas Ronhaar, and you've got to mark that off. You've got to go to the fresher rubber. And so they've extended their stint by 2 laps, which will be crucial at the end. But Mercedes, again, with both drivers, confident to do something different. So Alfie Butcher finds himself exiting, and look at who is putting the pressure on.
Ismail Fassi, who was down the bottom end of the points, now finds himself out. Oh, it's so close as we climb through. Nothing between the two of them. No room for racing at all there. So intense. As we have Fassi, we have Manley, we have Ronhaar, and we have leading all of them. Alfie Butcher, at least we did, because Manley's got them all.
Contact, there's contact between the 3 of them there. Fassi is front wing. I'm not sure if it's okay or not. It looked like it was minor contact, but that could have been so crucial for Fassi's championship lead. But that was so close indeed. Manley now leads this pack.
Well, the outlap was sensational. He got ahead, but he couldn't stay ahead. Manley is ahead of Brendan Lee, Alfie Butcher, then it's Thomas Ronhaar, and we go on board with Ronhaar, who was flirting with that white line through Pouhon corner.
You know when you said, just stick with it, when have we ever lied to you?
We wouldn't do that to you.
It always unravels.
Second half of the race and things get frantic. Look at Tom Manley out front on the medium tyre, the lead driver who's made his stop. Then it's Brendan Lee, Alfie Butcher, Thomas Ronhaar and Fassi, who was sensational on those laps in clear air, suddenly encountered traffic and could not keep the track position that his outlaps and resulting stint afterwards really warranted. He'd done an incredible job there in the clear air. He will now take the pain of having gone to that tyre first. So there is a scrap going on, an almighty scrap going on. Meanwhile, sailing on by, having the time of their life, probably chilling out to a bit of classical music. Pookie and Beresnay, no one's near them. No one's near them right now. Freddie Rasmussen stopped as well. Oh, you want the lead? You have the lead. Danny Beresnay, Pookie just swapping it over, looking after the cars and extending the stint. What this is going to mean, Matt, is they are going to have to fight their way through and then some. But you have to say, on the evidence of this year so far, Mercedes ultra confident with their strategy calls.
That's going to get tight as we head down the Kemmel Straight into the next couple of corners. Yeah, it's interesting to see what Mercedes are doing, something very different. They're doing the Jarno Opmeer strategy, and Jarno Opmeer's also doing the Jarno Opmeer strategy as he's third. So they're going much longer. You might think...
Checks out.
Yeah,
Story
exactly.
checks out.
Yeah. So you might think it's 10 laps to go. They don't want to leave it too much longer, but just think how long this track is. When you look at the comparison of the times, so Danny Beresnay, last lap, a 1:46.8. Tom Manley, a 44.5. It's over 2 seconds a lap quicker that this medium pack is lapping right now. But then you think when it'll turn around, when you have these, the 2 Mercedes, Opmeer, Longuet, come into the pits to change to the mediums, how much quicker they're going to be as they have fresh rubber. So it's not over yet. It is very much split down the middle. 10 drivers on the hard tyres yet to stop, and then the 10 behind chasing them down.
It is so well poised at this stage of the event. Jarno Opmeer takes over second place into the pits. Now this is the crucial one for me. Danny Beresnay. He comes in for the new rubber, the pack will flash by, and then can he fire up those tyres and make them work? Can he make moves? Because it's absolute chaos out there at the moment. Really, really close running, and the decorum of earlier on has been shattered. We are now fully back into sim racing mode.
Beresnay wants to win this one. He's going to have to pass pretty much everybody. 19th position is Danny Beresnay, as the drivers there fighting once again, Ronhaar and Oh, that's Brendan Lee and Butcher, actually, in fact.
Brendan Lee, who got the jump,
Brendan
but
Lee.
getting the jump on him is Alfie Butcher. And Alfie Butcher cycling through with a car between him and Ronha. Remember when they were gently swapping the lead earlier on? That's gone, and it's a big move for Alfie Butcher because the net race lead belongs to Tom Manley as it stands. The real race lead for the hard tyre runners who have yet to stop is Van Pookie, who's in his 4th race of the championship today. He started 6th in the standings, having only competed in 3 of the 5 races so far this season. And after you, sir, says Brendan Lee. Thomas Ronha released by the team to try and keep pace with Butcher.
Makes perfect sense. Brendan Lee on 1 lap older tyres. Manley on the same strategy as Brendan Lee, so he will come under pressure from Butcher and Ronha. Azildarim's having a very nice race as well, it has to be said. After getting that pole in China and then falling away, securing that point in qualifying, but then not being able to translate anywhere near that in the race. This is a much stronger performance from Azildarim in the RB. So let's see if he can score some good points as we have 8 laps to go. Istvan Pukki continuing on out in front, deciding to not pit even now. So these drivers, they are really leaving it to the last minute as we have a few more stopping, Otmir being one of them. It's a variety of strategies once again. Yes, we have the hard and the medium, the hard. Of course, Caraton being the only one starting the medium, but there are layers to this. It's not like they've all stopped on the same lap. We've got varying tyre lives out there.
Pookie's really extending on. Let's see what we get now in a battle between Brendan Lee, Ulazu Zeldarim, who had a superb opening stint for the race, but he's not going to make the move that time around. And every opportunity where you're not able to make the move just settles you into the rhythm of the car in front, and he continues to put the pressure on as we go into the technical middle sector of the racetrack, where if you don't quite have the car set up to your liking, you will get exposed by the end of the race in terms of your overall performance, because you'll be using the tyre more. Big DRS train in the middle of the field as it stands. Still the top 3 have to make their mandatory switch from one tyre compound to another.
Blink and you'll miss it. Danny Beresnay up to P12 already. Let's hear from him.
Probably Stein should have pitted.
No, it's good. They didn't pit. If they pitted, then yes. Then this way, I think it's right.
They think it's right. That's ominous for the other teams, because Mercedes have usually been right this season so far. As Pukki out in front, 3.5 seconds clear of Bari Broumand. Does he finally come into the pits? Yes, he does. So he will be on the freshest tyres of the lot, as he will undoubtedly almost fall to probably last position after these pit stops, as we filter through the last chicane with about 10 cars there. And finally, Tom Manley takes the lead of the race after all of the pit stops, with Danny Beresnay setting the fastest lap of the race in 8th position with 7 laps to go.
Fascinating situation, really well poised. One of the best setups I can remember for a race in this championship. You could have so many contenders here for the win. You could have so many drivers who have an opportunity trying to get himself into that conversation. Fassi up against Zeldarim. You've got a move in the background as well for Freddie Rasmussen, and off the road goes Fassi, trying to fight through. And will that open the door to the Red Bull behind? I think it will. Inside line. And the inside line is going to be claimed. Freddie Rasmussen up to P5 at a circuit where he's won at in the past. He's a factor to win the race.
So Fassi's picked up a penalty as well, an in-game penalty for that. I'm sure that, well, I would imagine the stewards would say that that is not deserving of a penalty, but we'll have to wait and see. They'll have to be appealed, and we'll continue to update you as we hear. But Freddie Rasmussen very quietly going about his business, up to 5th place in the Red Bull, of course winning at Silverstone. And he's mounting a late charge in this one.
So he finds himself having improved from 10th, where he extended off the racetrack on his only opportunity with the track at its driest in Q3. Time deleted, left him having to fight through in the rain when the track was too wet. As a result, started in 10th. Fassi started directly ahead of him, and that was a massive moment. Fassi was trying to get ahead. Danny Beresnay is the one they've all got to worry about, though. He is playing on easy right now, and he's siding through the field. The driver who was in P19 when he left the pit lane, trying to go from the very back all the way to the front.
And next up, Freddie Rasmussen.
Ooh,
of course.
battle resumes.
Freddie Rasmussen won out last time at Silverstone. Danny was pretty distraught for a P2. But he knows that there is an opportunity here as Freddie Rasmussen now passes Brendan Lee. We get a change out front as well with Alfie Butcher clearing Tom Manley. One lap fresher tyres for the McLaren.
Big moment for Alfie Butcher. He did have the tyre advantage, but he had to make it pay. He's done so on lap 16 of 22. But if that's one lap tyres fading away, think of all the pain they're going to have up against Danny Berezne, who's in a wonderful position to finally complete his return to the top step of the podium. The driver who had back-to-back podiums to start the year, then had the retirement after a collision in Jeddah. It was second yesterday by a tiny margin. Can he fight his way through with the fresher rubber today to go from 19th out of the pits to the win? Rasmussen will have something to say about it. So will Ronha. Man, that was close in the background with Alvaro Carreton and Otis Lawrence going to a part of the racetrack you don't see visited very often.
Lucas Blakely picking up a penalty there, but he's down in 17th. He's not troubling the points, but his teammate is fighting for the victory here. Alfie Butcher is sick of everyone speaking about Otis Lawrence being the young race winner. Alfie's like, do you not remember last year? I was the guy. And he's back there out in front at the moment. We see a fight here. Fassi really coming under pressure now as they head down towards the last chicane.
This is all on the line for the win. Butcher versus Manley at the moment, but Rasmussen making good progress, and Danny Berezne's progress has reached the man who denied him yesterday. A quick move here for the Mercedes man could be everything. As we look further back in the pack, we have a look at Carreton and Crozen. There are battles going on outside of the points, but it's very well placed at the head of the field. Lots of battling going on for major positions. Brendan Lee trying to score a strong result. He's currently chasing along in 6th place, and Fassi's directly behind him. Thomas Ronha is the driver putting pressure on, very close to McLaren going off the road there. Lucas Blakely and Alvaro Carreton swapping over positions, but it's only for P15. Can Ronha get past Manley?
Looking at the gaps, Freddie Rasmussen has lost DRS to Thomas Ronha. So the top three are trying to get away here. Rasmussen desperately trying to get under 1 second so he can join this wonderful little slipstream train. I'm hearing bangs to my left. I'm not sure what's going on in one of the cockpits, but Danny Berezne, as you can see there, 1.7 seconds back. So Danny, yes, he's got the freshest tyres, but can he have enough of a pace differential to the front three that even without a slipstream and DRS, once he clears Freddie Rasmussen, can he catch up and pass all of these cars in this little laps left? Freddie Rasmussen so close to getting DRS here and probably using all of his battery and a little bit more. So yeah, this is fascinating to see if the Mercedes can join this battle. Pookie only 9th at the moment.
Yeah, only 9th at the moment, but he went a very long way, and he will be having the time of his life fighting through. The driver in just his 4th sim racing start. Look at the concentration, look at the intensity for Danny Berezne. Cranking on the steering lock in the slipstream of Freddie Rasmussen, who had to work mighty hard to get back into the slipstream. But look at how much he's gaining all the time. That is a rocket ship through Eau Rouge, through Radion, past Rasmussen. Danny Berezne wants a return to the top step.
Brilliant decision there as Pookie gains a couple of positions down the Kemmel Straight as well. The Mercedes boys are on a charge at the moment. Danny Berezne used that so beautifully. He recognised that Rasmussen had spent all of his energy just trying to get within that 1 second window of Ronha. He managed that, but then he didn't have the energy to use it up into the DRS line. Danny Berezne up to 4th. Next up is Thomas Ronha.
This is going to be a really intriguing couple of laps. You've got Tom Manley trying to score just a 2nd podium. You've got Alfie Butcher trying to score a 2nd career win in the championship. Ronha thinking about that championship. Is 3rd place going to be enough for him? Does it re-establish himself back at the front? Maybe if Danny Berezne hadn't made all of this progress and didn't have the tyre advantage, he would be content with it. But Berezne is in 4th in the standings. He started today 13 points away from from Ismail Fassi, who is our championship leader, and under pressure now if Danny Berezne can take the win.
Oh, I can't wait to watch this. Ronha versus Berezne. When was the last time those two came to? Was it Jeddah?
Was it Jeddah?
I think it
was. There a
what
little bit of
happened there?
fallout?
Can't remember
Were there
that.
a few opinions flying about? My words, they are about to go wheel to wheel again, and Thomas Ronhar's cautious wheel to wheel mantra from yesterday is about to be tested. Through Eau Rouge, through Radion, how about the momentum this time? Not quite at rocket ship, but he's closing all the while on the top three.
Ronha recognises now he needs to pass Manley, realistically, if he wants to win this one. P2 is the optimum position. Danny Berezne needs to pass a couple cars as well. And you've got Alfie Butcher out in front on the same strategy as Ronha in terms of tyre life. Pookie's in 6th with the fastest lap. He's chasing down as well. Berezne's probably thinking, I need to move forward with this one, otherwise my teammate's going to be in my rearview mirror.
You're looking at the contenders for the win. We're on board with one. Let's hear from Danny Berezne.
Focus on everything around me, please, guys, and give me advice.
And that is exactly what he's saying, Matt. He needs to know the big picture. He needs to know when to just tick the time off, when to tactically attack, because Pookie is not too far away, and remember, he's on the freshest tyres of all of them.
Yeah, and half a second behind Rasmussen. There he is. He's right there.
The Mercedes are in an unbelievable position here. Their deployment of the drivers has been superb so far. Back-to-back podiums for Jake Benham. Pookie, they had the faith in him to place him back in the car, and he will be trying to get past Freddie Rasmussen. Mercedes working so well together when it comes to the strategy. They were bold. Everyone went to try and get the undercut early. They did their own thing, and I wonder for the rest of the teams whether there's a... I mean, please don't do this from the spectacle point of view, but you have to ask yourselves why people aren't marking off Mercedes' strategy. Because on the evidence of the races that we've had, and this is number 6 of the championship this year, they've been devastatingly good.
Yeah, they've been correct almost every single time. Now, we're speaking about their strategy and the fact they're in a great position. They have to translate this into a victory. It's all well and good having the freshest tyres in 4th and 6th. Berezne having a little look at Ronha, but look at Ronha's straight line speed. Can't get anywhere close.
Around the outside is the ambition for Pookie. You're not going to do that to Freddie Rasmussen. No chance. He has to back out of it. Hang on to 6th. And every moment like that where you have a half look and you're not able to make the pass is costing you. We're on lap 20 of 22. This is the longest circuit of the year, so we're not quite at the very, very end, but we are running out of laps here.
We are, and Pookie might reflect on that moment. Was that the right time? But of course, he still has an opportunity. You can visibly see the grip he has over Freddie Rasmussen, who's running in 5th ahead of him. He's got a healthy amount of battery, as you can see, just above the gear number of number 5 there, as you can see on the bottom middle of your screen. And Pookie, if he gets through on Rasmussen, do Mercedes have to make a difficult call here?
Well, this is going to be a fascinating couple of minutes in the championship of 2025. Alfie Butcher ahead of Tom Manley. Tom Manley on for a 2nd career podium. Alfie Butcher chasing a 3rd win and a 4th podium. It would be his 1st of the season. The best so far he's managed this year is in 4th position. He has the lead heading on to the penultimate lap of the race. Manley has done so well to keep Ronha behind, and Berezne's flying run through the field has halted on the brink of the podium.
It has. His advantage isn't anywhere near when he's got to the front 3. Berezne has to clear Ronha here. Ronha's thinking about Manley because he wants to be 2nd. Penultimate lap.
Big moments coming your way as we go to Lake Calm. Can Ronha get to the inside of Manley and make it a battle for the win? That's the aim. He's got the place. Manley drops down. Now he's going to have to think about Berezne behind. Ronha takes 2nd place. Manley to 3rd, but he hangs on to the podium position. And in the background, Pookie's got P5.
Pookie right on the back of Berezne. Ronha trying to stay within DRS of Butcher. Butcher's pushing so hard in that McLaren. He wants his 1st victory for the Papaya team, and he is pushing so hard, 9.5 tenths.
Ronha will have to deploy the energy he has available to him. Butcher, we talked about him at the very start of the day before qualifying. And Matt was saying he's been a bit quiet. What's happened here? The answer has been emphatic. Back at the front of the field, as you say, Matt, First time with McLaren, and this is massive for Ronha. By the time that we get back to a DRS zone, is that gap under a second? Otherwise, it is going to be scenes of delight for Butcher. Manley and Berezne will fight for the final podium place. Can Berezne get there before we get to a traditional overtaking opportunity? Can't get his nose to the inside of the second part of the chicane, and he's still in P4. Pookie's in the mix as well. He's currently in 5th place. Butcher leads onto the 22nd and final lap.
Butcher's had a scintillating middle and last sector of lap 21. He's got a 1.6 second lead. Ronha will have no DRS, and he's going to have to look in the rear view mirror for Manley and the 2 Mercedes.
What a superb couple of corners for Alfie Butcher, who is streaking clear out front. The 2 Mercedes side by side, position swapped. And it's not just going to be one. Pookie's gone past his teammate. He's gone past Manley. He's gone past Ronha. What just happened?
Three cars in one straight for Pookie up to second.
How on earth did Pookie just hit fast forward? Unbelievable to go past Manley, Berezne, Ronha, and second place. And he was 1 lap away from completing an audacious strategy and getting in the battle for the win. That will be a fine second place. He has been superb. It's going to be his 3rd second place of the year. 3 times on the podium in 4 races, and he's had to sit a couple out. He is loving life at Mercedes, but loving life at McLaren is the man out front. Your leader by a mammoth in the Sim Racing Championship, 1.6 seconds. Alfie Butcher on his way to the checkered flag. Alfie Butcher on his way to take a bow.
We asked him to deliver. We knew he could deliver. We saw it last season. It's been a quiet start at McLaren, but look at him now.
Alfie Butcher has waited for this moment. A new team, a new season, and finally, a return to the top step. He's done the job. He's won the race. It's Butcher who takes victory at Spa. Pookie charges through to second. Ronha takes 15 vital points for the championship. And then it's Tom Manley with a strong 4th place. Danny Berezne with more points for the championship in 5th. Jarno Opmeer finished ahead of Freddie Rasmussen, but the Butcher delivers. After 22 fighting laps, he's won the race by a second from Pookie, who came charging through the field. Alfie Butcher, race winner, another new race winner. Make that 6 from 6.
Fantastic. We always know it's going to unfold. We always know it's going to unravel. Don't know exactly how, but what a decision. Berezne playing a wonderful team game for Mercedes there. Finishes 5th in the end, maybe slightly disappointed with that one, but Pookie, 3 cars, 1 straight, utilising again. Mercedes just delivering with both cars in almost every single race. And, well, Ismail Fassi, we need to talk about him. The championship leader, finishing nowhere near the points.
No.
So this, again, the championship takes another turn.
Yeah, it really does. Fassi with back-to-back non-scores. He wasn't feeling well at the start of yesterday, but it's now 2 races in a row that he has struggled. Went very early, didn't he, for that fresh tyre, and that's a frustrated Otis Lawrence, who has a 9th place finish for him, climbed 5 places, but wanted more, felt he was quicker in the race. But Esteban Pookie, superb, up 3 places, charging through at the end there, stayed out the longest of anyone before going to the medium tyre, and he's been rewarded with a place on the podium. Quietly in P3, I think Ronha will be delighted with big points, but Butcher is absolutely the class of the field around Spa-Francorchamps.
I mean, can you believe Esteban Pookie? 4 races he's taken. He's missed 2 of them, and he's 5 points off Fassi. Opmeer, by my mental maths, is now the championship leader. But it just there's not someone just dominating this series. It's not even like there's a front three or a front five. It's changing every single event. Alfie Butcher, another winner, Tom.
I know. Matt Gallagher, Alex Jakes. We can see just the top of your head there, Matt. In shot. Oh, you know, cheeky.
What a treat.
Why not? We've been waiting throughout the whole race. When will I get to see the top of Matt's head? It's happened. It's done. But most importantly, Alfie Butcher, his first win for the McLaren team. 2 previous wins for him in the Formula One Sim Racing World Championship. That was last season when he was racing for Haas. He had a win in Abu Dhabi to round out the championship, and he had a win at the beginning of the season in Austria, and he's done it. And this is what I love, and I'm sure wherever you are watching around the world, you are loving the fact that literally it's a flip of the coin. Who could possibly win this? No one knows. You pull a name out of a hat and go, I've got a brilliant chance of maybe this driver winning, and we love it for that. But it came down to some of those team decisions. And can anyone stop Mercedes and how dominant they are right now? It's just fantastic to watch. Scintillating, I heard you say, Matt.
Yeah, and I refer back to what Alex said in commentary. Just start copying Mercedes' strategies, guys. Like, it's working. It really is. So, yeah, it's, again, a brilliant performance from Mercedes. Both drivers up there, and that's something that is very difficult in this series to achieve. But yeah, it's really fascinating. I wonder if, Mercedes, of course, are going for the team's championship, but moving forward, would they want to win both championships? Obviously, yes, but they can't really do that with their current setup.
Yeah. I'm just seeing there in the pictures that we see, Alfie's dad there, Jay, referred to as J-Dog, around the circuit. He looks very calm and collected. I was speaking to him yesterday, and I said, well, what's Alfie's objectives? He said he wants to be a champion. I mean, each one of these drivers wants to be a champion, which is why I find it so fascinating looking at Pookie. You can see the pace. At one point you said Danny Berezny had a rocket ship that was flying through there. Each driver wants to win, and yet it comes down to the team. Maybe that is what Mercedes are doing so well right now, is being an absolute team. And I feel for Williams, they tried something different there, pitting in lap 11 for Alvaro, going from the mediums to the hard tyres, and to try to give themselves something. And Ismail looked incredibly frustrated at the end of that race. He's got one more race to go today, but he knows what he has to do, and that pressure will begin to build on him.
Yeah, I mean, I audibly heard some things go flying as he was finishing. Maybe it was his headset, but yeah, it's clearly taking a toll on him. Of course it is. Event 1 could have probably not gone much better if he'd have dreamt it. So this event has gone very much awry, but you can bounce back. We've seen that with so many drivers already, and he should take some solace in the fact that we've had a different winner in every single race so far. It is not like, I should be up there. Of course, he'd think that, but you have to have a realistic approach to this championship.
And it's not one driver winning the majority right now, thinking, this championship's all over. It's so open. Let's find out with Claire Cottingham. She is with Thomas Ronhart, finished in 3rd today.
Pole position, but unfortunately not the top step for this one. It was a bit of a challenge out there, though, and we were talking just off air that actually sometimes pole position can shuffle all the way to the back, but you held on and defended incredibly hard.
Yeah, no, first of all, congrats to Alfie and Ness on the podium. It was crazy out there. Just managing to get ahead of, let's say, Tom first was very tough. Get the overtake done eventually on him was quite crucial, because otherwise I would have probably dropped behind both Mercs and maybe even Tom himself, and that would have been P5 or 6, and that's many, many points gone. So for me, it was crucial. I'm not sure what lap I overtook him, but I think in the latter stages, it was crucial to get ahead of him. It might have been a penultimate lap, actually, where I tried to get Alfie's DRS, but just missed out. Then I had no battery for the last race, so that guy over there, he had a lot of battery and got past. So yeah, he was very smart with it. I think if I had DRS, it would have been P2 for me and then probably P3 for Isfan. But yeah, still good points, and yeah, looking forward to Zandvoort.
For clarity, we were pointed to Istvan Pookie, who's just behind. It's harder to see when it's off the screen. Talk to me about the move from Alfie, though. Did it catch you napping, off guard, or was it just one of those things where it was actually a bit of a blinder from Alfie?
I mean, I knew it was coming before the pit stop. First of all, to get in the pit lane first was. I mean, of course, I wanted to be first in the pits because, of course, we wanted to pit early and make sure we had track position, which in the end was actually the right call. So, yeah, I think we maximized what we could do today, even though it's only P3. From pole position, it's not what you want, but in these scenarios, sometimes that's just how it goes. Still good points, and I think I closed the gap to the championship lead by quite a lot. So yeah, I can only take positives.
Yeah, we were trying to do some fast maths, weren't we? But we're going to leave that to the desk to work out where everyone is in terms of the championship. Final one from me. Next up, Zandvoort. How are we feeling?
Home track, so yeah, I only want to win. That's my target, of course, especially at my home track. I just want to do the best possible, and yeah, looking forward, of course, most to that track, and we'll see what happens.
Well, congratulations on your third place.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to let you go, Thomas, and we're going to bring in Esteban. We have to talk about your time travel on that final lap, because we have no idea where that came from. What happened? You overtook about 3 cars in the space of like one stretch.
Yeah, well, it was already planned, kind of, because Donny was draining the battery in the last sector, penultimate lap of, I think it was Ulash and Thomas, yeah. So I kind of know they are low on battery, and I was just recharging myself throughout sector 2 and sector 3. I didn't use a lot, and it was all prepared there. So down from Orouge, I was just blasting all the battery I had, and I didn't think I would overtake Thomas, but when I saw he didn't have DRS, so I was keep pushing the button, and there it happened.
And of course, I don't need to do the maths with Mercedes. They will still be leading the Constructors' Championship as it stands. But you guys are putting a battle in now for the Drivers' Championship, aren't you? And not only that, you didn't even drive yesterday. So this is your first time stepping in the car.
Yeah, I missed 2 races so far this season. I didn't really think about the Drivers' Championship so far, so I don't know where I'm at exactly. I might have a look at it because I'm going to drive the 2 other races as well, but we are mostly focusing on the Constructors, so not a big deal if I don't win it.
Okay.
In the rookie season, later on.
I was going to say, let's have a conversation with you on the final round and see if you're that worried about it then. It was a real impressive performance from you and your teammate, though. It really shows that you guys are working together.
Yeah, especially with Donny and Jake, we have spent so much time together, so we know each other really well. We know how we communicate and what we mean by the words. So yeah, we just say basically one word sentences, and we understand each other, so it's going really well.
And you must be so happy to have not driven the rig yesterday, to come in today. You're not driving Zandvoort, and then I believe you'll probably be in tomorrow, because otherwise you're going to be a driver down.
I'm driving Zandvoort as well.
You're driving Zandvoort. Okay, so Breguet not driving?
Yeah, it's like that, yeah.
Okay, inside scoop there. I didn't know. I thought it was going to... Okay, okay, that's a really interesting move. So how are you feeling about Zandvoort then?
I feel quite confident in Zandvoort, I would say. Kota feels okay as well, but it indeed all depends just on the moment anyway. So, like in Spa, we knew Ferrari had a really quick, fast, dry times, and they were out in Q1, and Nico was P9 or P8 on the grid, so anything can happen.
Okay, well, time to go get ready for Zandvoort then. Thank you so much. Congratulations at second place.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Claire, and to Pookie, and also to Thomas Ronhart. His first win for the Papayas. Alfie Butcher, congratulations. Talk us through that race and how you're feeling right now.
Yeah, thank you. Obviously, it's quite a long race of many games, tactics. I think we especially did really well in the ERS department. We were constantly trying to give us a bit of a backup to the cars behind and constantly remaining above that 50% level, and obviously giving us the rest for the final couple of laps where fortunately we got away just from the bunch behind and made it a little bit easier to end the race.
Pookie was just mentioning there, and Claire asked him about that 3 driver overtake. Were you a little bit nervous? I think you had like a 1.7 gap there to him, but it's sort of looking in the rear view a little bit?
Yeah, I think around Spa, obviously you got it's a really big straight, so I knew obviously leading onto the final lap might not be where we want to be, but constantly throughout the race we had a nice buffer to the car behind on the straight, so I thought that maybe perhaps we could stay in the lead going on to the final couple of corners, but luckily we got away and we didn't have to think about that in the end.
So the strategy that you unfolded, was that the exact strategy that you went for or wanted to go for prior to the race? Because when we look at the likes of Mercedes, for example, they went very, very long. Were you expecting them to come through and challenge you for the win right at the end, or what was your predictions?
I think that was a strategy we set out to do. We tried to aim for track position, not get too many cars jump us in the pits. Obviously, we didn't go the earliest, but we didn't go anywhere near the latest as well. So, but yeah, obviously, Danny and Istvan, they obviously went a bit longer, and it paid off for them as well. So it just shows that any strategy can work.
Tell me about the journey from Event 1 to Event 2. What did you focus on? Did you change anything from your point of view?
Yes, so obviously Event 1, we had some really good race drives, many comebacks from sometimes outside the top 10. So yeah, we shifted our focus a little bit more to qualifying, which obviously paid off today with P2. So obviously when you start up a bit high, it gives you a bit more support when you go for the race wins.
What does it feel like? Alex asked about coming into Event 2. It's your new team, McLaren. Does it feel like you got it over the line? You can just relax a little bit. You knew you were capable of this from 2 wins last year for Haas, and now for McLaren, you get that first win. Do you feel like, guys, I told you, I got this?
No, I think obviously in Event 1 we picked up some really good points for the team. So I think the race win was sort of always coming. So yeah, I was just staying patient, and I'm really happy today that we finally got it.
Yeah, and it must be that extra sweeter result from last year, P20 crossing the line to first. It's an absolute reverse. It's the Uno card being played right there.
Yeah, I know. It's nice to flip it around in the right direction.
Yeah, so what about the team McLaren and your times looking towards the constructors' standings? Mercedes is going to be one heck of a battle right till the end, and a lot of points to catch up on.
Yeah, obviously Mercedes have had a really good start, but we do believe that it's all open and we pick up more results like this and we can make inroads on them, so that's what we'll be looking to do.
And how do you reset now? Because of course we have 2 races in one day. How do you find that? Is it a little bit different compared to yesterday, for example, where we only have 1? How do you reset, change your references and go for a different track?
Yeah, obviously it's quite hard to sort of, because I'm up here right now and I've got to bring it back down here, but yeah, we'll obviously get back, have some little time to rest, and we're back in the rig for another qualifying and race.
Yeah. I just got one fun question. In Event 1, your dad, who we've seen straight away celebrate with you, went out to get a particular cereal that you liked. Because I'm only referencing the fact that Claire asked, what's the difference today coming in? Have you brought something from the UK with you, Alfie? What's the secret? Let's talk nutrition for a second.
Funnily enough, the cereal hasn't actually joined us in Event 2. We've left that in Event 1. So maybe that's the qualified performances. We tried to shift it around, but whatever we're doing now is clearly working. So
well, don't change it.
Yeah,
Alfie,
exactly.
congratulations on
Thank you
today.
very much.
Let's have a look at the driver standings and also the constructor standings. Excellent to chat to Alfie. And you can see that he was buzzing. He was buzzing.
Yeah, deservedly so.
Absolutely. There's no... I mean, look at that.
I'm sorry,
right.
the drivers' standings, the top 7 are separated by 14 points.
Have a word. Someone in the graphics is having a joke with us, surely. I mean, that's how open it is. One more race today, guys, just to let you know. We will be coming back shortly for quali around Zandvoort, but look at that. It really is anyone's title. So even if you're further down towards a 10th spot, you're still thinking, I still got this, to be honest. And I think that's fascinating to hear Pookie go, I don't mind, you know, it's not a big deal if I don't win.
Well, easy to think that in your rookie season, but as he said at the end of that answer when he clarified, you might feel differently in the future. Mercedes still leading the way in the constructors. 49 points can change pretty quickly. Be interested to see whether we get a dry qualifying in Zandvoort or whether it's wet again. Drivers have to deal with that. We've had that at Silverstone. We've had that at Spa. It's meaning that that old adage about 15 points per round basically just goes out of the window. You've got to be winning now because there's still a chance if you're out of contention. But when there's so many drivers having a good weekend, having a bad time, it's up and down. This is a roller coaster season, and it's
great
unlike
for us.
Anything. It's brilliant for us. From a selfish point of view, I'm having the time of my life.
Will it be the Magnificent Seven? Will we have 7 different winners? We will find out later on today. But just to focus on the Mercedes team, they are absolutely smashing. 149 points. In second place is Red Bull with 100. Pookie, Berezny, how did they celebrate? How did they give that morale to one another as they were racing? We'll find out now with those comms. Let's have a little listen in.
Thank you, man.
Nice. Right, well done, lads. Well done. We continue the podium streak. Well done.
Yes.
Okay, sweet. We get a little bit of comms. We get to see that it means something to those guys, and it's brilliant. I'd love to compare that in a way where you see a team that things aren't going right and how their comms are different. Yeah. But that's great to see. That's positive. They like that. They're buzzing right now, Mercedes.
It's interesting to hear Danny so happy about that one when we literally had him at Silverstone being throwing things, and he was second then, and he finished 5th in that one where we expected perhaps a podium for Danny there, but you can see it's a team effort. He was so happy to see Pookie come through right at the end there, and that's their sole focus. And despite that, Pookie missing 2 races, he's what, 2 points off the top? He's going to be thinking, guys, if I'd have just been in those 2, I'd be leading by a mile.
Yeah, it's the mentality right now for those guys. No Beresne in Zandvoort as well. We found that out from Claire.
Surprising, yeah.
Very surprising indeed. Let's look at the tyre usage for Spa. Anything sort of stand out to you guys?
It's not the most colourful in terms of variety of strategy, but as we sort of said in commentary, as much as a lot of them did the same one stop, we had a difference in tyre life. So of course you had the likes of Brendan Lee, Tom Manley. Tom Manley made that strategy work very well indeed. Going early onto the medium tyres, but managed to fight and stay up in 4th. So that's a great result for Manley.
And it was even that moment where Alfie Butcher came out of the pits and it was the battle between Manley, Ronha and Butcher, and he managed to have that advantage. But I tell you what, Pookie in your rear view, that is not what you want to see. He was electric, Mercedes. Something to do with the setup, potentially. We'll have to dig deep with the engineers. But yeah, for you, Alex, anything stand out?
I think the disappointment for Fassi that he went early like Manley did, maybe a lap before, but it was just a touch too soon, and that's cost him just going slightly too early. He came out of the pits nearly having cleared the entire pack, but if you consider that he was really, really close to where Freddie Rasmussen was, maybe the P6 or P7 would have been better for his overall championship challenge, because now he's fallen back to the rest of the pack. You can't play the consistency game.
One thing that makes me very nervous doing the F1 Sim Racing World Championship is Marcel Kiefer with a touchscreen. What will he be drawing up for us right now? Let's find out. Marcel, how are you doing in the VIP area?
Welcome, guys. I don't think I will be drawing anything which should be too questionable, but we are going to talk about a couple of questionable moves on the track, because this race was intense as ever. And it started off right away in lap 1 with a great move by Lucas Blakely in sector 2. And actually there was a common kind of pattern to see. Most of the drivers actually didn't overtake in the usual overtaking opportunities, but actually into sector 2 and in unusual places. So yeah, super, super good to see. So we have Lucas just sending it fully around the outside of 2 cars, but unfortunately he can't make it stick with Jonny Tomla. Even though he didn't have a tire advantage, a great move, getting the move done nice and early on Otis. So no pushing off the track or anything, a little bit of tire hooking, but nothing serious. Then on the other end, in lap 2, we had also Alvaro Carreton trying it the same way like Lucas did, but instead of the outside, the inside. So Lucas apparently is quite confident on the outside, so he tried to hold that as well, whilst Alvaro was going for this gap, but it was ever so closing. And if you pay attention to Alvaro's steering wheel, he's actually, as soon as he hits the curb, he's kind of losing the car a little bit, and with that understeers into Lucas, pushes him a bit wide, which if he would gain the position, he would usually get a penalty, at least 1 second or something else, or maybe a warning and a slap on the wrist from the stewards. But he's continuing to make contact, which is not a clean way of racing. But then, you know, I think it was actually quite fair and square, because Lucas pushed him also a little bit wide and on the exit. So I don't think there was any kind of consequence of that. They still held the same position. A big moment in the middle of the race after the pit stops. At the end of the Camel Straight, we had a 3 wide moment, and Ismail Fassi right in the middle. He's losing out so many crucial points at the moment due to these kind of incidents. Honestly, if I would have been him, it's always hard to judge when they go super fast, but he could also pull out. With this, he's risking losing his front wing, also risking obviously the team's result. It's not what you want to see, but it sometimes happens. Alfie Butcher also at risk here, who won the race, getting pushed off then by Brendan Lee. Ismail gets another warning, and he has to fend off the cars behind. So super, super close stuff. Ronna had a great POV from that, and then he actually sent it also on Ismail Fassi, like Lucas Blakely did in lap 1, around the outside, and managed to send it still into the next left-hander. Great battle, great move. That's what you need to do if you want to become champion in F1 Sim Racing. And we have another POV here from what happened right before, where Tom Manley actually was able to overtake both Ismail Fassi and Alfie Butcher. I was actually a bit surprised where he came from. Out of nowhere, he was in the race lead, did a good job with positioning himself, and was also, due to the chaos that we saw, he was the big beneficial. Like, honestly, he was just in the lead, got it done. And yeah, great stuff from him, positioning his car there. Fasti again getting a bit desperate, and that's when he got the 3-second penalty. So no, it was not actually getting pushed off. He kind of sent it in a bit too late, probably picked up a bit of tire marbles on the left side because the track is dirty there, obviously. It's not the racing line. And then he picked up the 3-second penalty. Pookie did exactly the same thing. And on Pookie's tire, you can actually spot that very well. You can see the pattern, the texture of the tire changed as soon as he touched. I think it was actually a bit of grass and not tire marbles. No, that was my bad, sorry. But yeah, it happens quite easily in this part of the racetrack that you get a bit of understeer if you send it in too late and too deep. So you have to be careful. Even though Pookie had a great tire advantage, you still need to make sure that you can make it stick. Ronna did another pass on Tom Manley, which was also good to see. Great battle. And what's interesting with Thomas, I noticed that he's always locking the wheel, but when he doesn't, he actually plays with the throttle. If you pay attention, it looks like he's actually losing the car mid-corner because he's so aggressive right here. He's accelerating again whilst being mid-corner to kind of cause a drift to make the rear kick out so he can flick it around, catch the car, and then he makes the move stick. So super, super smart, very clean. Beresney tried to also get past Manley, but unfortunately, he did not manage to do it. Difficult part of the racetrack, and later on he learned that he can actually defend there as well. And then we have this crazy triple overtake from Istvan Pukki, where he's just like trying to get past all of them, and somehow he manages to keep the car in one piece, nearly 360 kph at the end of the straight. And to finish it off, we have this move from Jarno Opmeer on his teammate and an attempt on Danny Beresney for P5, where Danny learned from Tom Manley what he has to do. Great racing all around, great result, and obviously the outcome with Alfie Butcher, amazing, another race winner. Back to you guys.
Thank you so much, Marcel. Love the VIP area there, touchscreen. So many things to pick up on. Just watching Pookie's triple overtake there was just stunning, weaving in and out. He's a driver that's very confident, right, to be sending it like that. And we just saw Jarno trying to do the overtake on Danny, not managing to pull that off. But what was it like watching it back again there, that Pookie overtake?
It was awesome, right? It's the overtake itself, right? He had battery, so let's be real. Like in terms of the speed that he had an advantage of everybody else. No. Listen. I'm saying what we should be praising is the laps before that, where he was recharging his battery very smartly behind Danny Beresney. So the fact that he had that battery to play with was the masterstroke from Mercedes and from Pookie. And then he could just deploy. He said he could deploy it literally from Eau Rouge. And so then that's why he had such an advantage over the rest of the drivers. How he got Ronha as well was crazy. But Ronha, of course, no DRS and was much slower. So, yeah, phenomenal. It was brilliant to watch. And, yeah, just praise again to the thinking behind how Mercedes are getting these points.
Red Bull in second place in the Constructors standings at the moment. Jarno Opmeer started in P11, finished 6th. Last time he was in Claire's corner, there was a cushion being used to make it look very comfortable and relaxed. Will it be the same right now, Claire?
Well, I've got a very chilled out Jarno Opmeer alongside me because championship leader, I mean, I turned to you and I saw the driver standing. I was like, you're leading. That's pretty impressive. I know you had a win out last time in China, but it's a cool place to be at this point, isn't it? I forget that you're so chilled out and I have to lie back for your... There we go, sorry.
I'm used to laying back in the seat.
Yes, there we go, yeah. So cash. Yeah. How are you feeling?
Yeah, good, of course, leading championship. Obviously not so happy with yesterday, only finishing P9, but at the same time that was I felt like my worst track, so I was happy to get that one out of the way. And yeah, a little bit surprising that I'm leading the championship because it has felt like a bit of a messy season from my side, but I think that's the same for everyone. So yeah, I'm just happy to be leading by 2 points, but of course in the next race it can be all gone again. So.
That's the spirit. That's what we like to hear, that you're going to lose it immediately. You'll be fine. Zandvoort, I mean, that's got to be a track that you really enjoy.
Yeah, of course, home track. It's a really, really short track, high downforce, so always a lot of fun to drive. And yeah, I think in the past I've been quite decent there as well. So I'm going to have to wait and see how it goes. It's a bit of a weird one. We'll see a lot of bumping through the last corner. Okay. A lot of porpoising. So yeah. Looking forward to that one.
Yeah, you sound thrilled by that, the porpoising especially. Did you kind of think coming into this round that you could kind of emulate what you did before in China, get another win at this point? You said it's been a bit of an up and down. Why do you think it's kind of been so, I don't want to use the word messy, but I feel like you just used it, so I can.
Yeah, I think it's everyone has the same. I think that's why there's about 12 3-point contention for the championship at the moment. But yeah, I think it really comes down to the game. I think from one track to the other, someone can be really fast. It's very unnatural to drive. So yeah, it's hard to get a lap in because the feeling is not quite there, I think, for everyone. And yes, setups make, of course, a big difference. Setups in combined with driving. So yeah, it's the same for everyone, I think so.
We had a conversation yesterday about the new guard and the old guard, and about the new guard coming in. And I mean, we just saw Alfie win. Is there a bit of a concern about being one of the, and I don't mean to say, because last time we were on this couch, I called you a veteran, but is there a bit of a concern about the new guys coming in, or is it quite nice to see fresh new blood?
Yeah, I think in esports you're always going to see a lot of new guys come in. It's very tough to in esports to be on the top for really, really long, especially with a new game coming in year after year that completely changes the laws of physics every year. So yeah, it's hard to say. Like, of course, last year everyone thought Alfie was going to win the championship this year, for example, because last year he was really impressive in his rookie season. But then in the first event, he was struggling a lot. Yesterday, he was struggling a lot as well. And then today, he suddenly wins. So it's really hard to say beforehand who's going to do well in what year. It's always a big guess. Of course, always the same guys are kind of up there. But then sometimes randomly you see a rookie come in and do really, really well. So yeah, hard to say.
Well, of course, our new championship leader, and you're so confident that you're going to have it by the end of Zandvoort, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I can see that. Thank you so much for chatting to us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much to Claire and to Jarno. Last time they were in Claire's corner, they both had the cushions just hugging them like it was a sort of movie night. It was still relaxed, though. He's a very relaxed driver. He
Still
comes
talking
across
about the cushions, Tom.
Yeah, well, I just thought I'd clarify
That's what
that a little
everyone's
bit
still watching for, cushion chat. Cushion chat, Tom Deacon. Do we even need to...
Hashtag F1 Esports if you want to join that conversation about the cushions.
Hashtag
if not the driver's standings. He is your leader at the moment. He said event 1 was horrible. This one...
It was.
For him, it was horrible. And yet this time round, he seems to be very calm about the whole thing, Jarno. Nothing seems to faze him.
I think when it turns into a championship where so many different people can win, you got 6 different winners, it calms you down as a competitor that you're not, I don't quite have the pace. Then it turns into, all right, 9th is fine overall, 6th on the last lap, getting past your teammate, that works as well. If someone takes a step forward and wins back-to-back races, then it turns into, this isn't working for me.
Yeah, I think the fact that he is leading the championship and is sat there going, I'm having a horrible season.
Yeah.
You know, that in itself is a calming thing, right? As soon as Otmir gets to where he knows he can get to, he'll be flying. So he's happy to be leading this championship, very much so.
Yeah, and his home race, Thomas Ronhaar said it's his home race. That's coming up later on at 1800 Central European time. I'm getting good at pronouncing it.
I love it.
Yeah, it's
it's
improvement. improvement for
on
everyone.
The third beep.
To Alex Jakes and Matt Gallagher. Listen, I hope you enjoyed the fun that we are having. We'll be back here then later on to go racing around Zandvoort. We'll see you then.